I stopped being a nurse on a Tuesday. No dramatic breakdown, no screaming at a doctor, no collapsing in a hospital hallway. I just stopped. Walked out of Metro General at the end of my shift, got in my car, and knew I couldn't go back. 5 years of pediatric nursing, 5 years of sick children, scared parents, impossible hours, life or death decisions, watching kids suffer, watching some of them not make it. I loved nursing, I really did, but it broke something inside me. So I quit, gave 2 weeks' notice. My supervisor understood. She'd seen it before. Burnout. The thing that happens when you care too much for too long. "What will you do?" she asked. "I don't know. Something with kids, but not this." That was 8 months ago. Now I'm a nanny to a 9-year-old girl who, according to her parents, is always sick. Except she's not. But it took me 3 weeks to figure that out. Have you ever watched someone suffer from something invisible? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories about children, families, and discovering what's really wrong when everything seems broken, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our next story. The job posting was specific. Seeking experienced caregiver for 9-year-old girl with complex medical needs. Must have medical background. Must be available 7 a.m., 7 p.m., Monday, Friday. Competitive salary. Benefits included. I almost didn't apply. Medical needs. That was what I was trying to escape. But the salary was significant. More than I'd made as a nurse, and I told myself, 1 child, just 1. I could handle that. I applied. 2 days later, I had an interview. The Spencer house was in Windermere, gated community. The house was huge, modern, glass and steel, probably 4,000 square feet, manicured lawn, 3-car garage, money, lots of it. Victoria Spencer answered the door. Late 30s, blonde. Put together in that way wealthy women are. Expensive casual clothes, subtle makeup, perfect hair, but tired eyes, anxious energy. "Natalie? Come in, please." The house was beautiful, minimalist, everything white or gray or chrome, art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of place you see in magazines. Also sterile, cold, like a showroom, not a home. Charles Spencer was in the living room, early 40s, dark hair, suit with no tie. He stood when I entered, shook my hand firmly. "Thank you for coming. Please sit." We sat. Them on one couch, me on a chair across from them. "Tell us about your background," Victoria said. I explained. Nursing degree, 5 years pediatric ICU, why I left, why I wanted to work with children but in a different capacity. Charles nodded approvingly. Medical background is essential. Maeve has complex needs. "Tell me about Maeve," I said. Victoria's expression shifted. Worry. Fear. Maternal anxiety cranked to 11. "She's 9. She's been sick since she was 7. We don't know why. We've seen dozens of specialists. Run every test. Spent." She glanced at Charles. "Hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure it out." "What are her symptoms?" "Everything," Victoria said. "Chronic fatigue, stomach problems, headaches. She catches every cold, every flu. She's missed more school than she's attended. She's weak, fragile. We're so scared she'll—" Her voice broke. Charles put a hand on her knee, continued for her. "We need someone who understands medical care, who can monitor her, give her medications on schedule, recognize if something's wrong. But also, be there. We both work, long hours, family company. We can't be home as much as we'd like." "What does Maeve want?" I asked. They looked at each other, confused. "What do you mean?" Victoria asked. "What does she like to do? What makes her happy?" Silence. Finally, Charles said, "She likes reading, watching movies. She's very quiet, mature for her age." "Because she's sick," Victoria added quickly. "She can't do what other kids do. Run around, play sports, go to parties. She's too weak." "What do her doctors say?" "They don't know." frustration in Charles's voice. We've been to Boston, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic. They all say the same thing. Something's wrong, but they can't pinpoint it. Some think autoimmune. Some think chronic fatigue syndrome. Some think it's psychological. Do you think it's psychological? I asked. Victoria's face hardened. My daughter is not making this up. She's sick. Really sick. I wasn't suggesting she's making it up. Psychological doesn't mean fake. It means the mind affects the body. Stress, anxiety, trauma. These can manifest physically. She's 9, Victoria said. What does she have to be stressed about? I didn't answer, but I thought, maybe being treated like she's made of glass. They hired me. I started the following Monday. My first day, I arrived at 6:45 a.m. Victoria was already dressed for work. Black suit, heels, coffee in hand. Maeve's still sleeping. She needs to be up by 7:30. Breakfast at 8. Medications at 8:30. List is on the kitchen counter. She's homeschooled now. Tutor comes at 10. Light lunch at noon. Medications again at 1. Rest time until 3. Dinner prep at 5. We'll be home by 6:30. Medications at 7 p.m. before bed. She spoke fast, anxious. Like if she didn't tell me everything at once, something terrible would happen. Got it, I said. And Natalie. Watch her. Constantly. She gets dizzy sometimes. Falls. We had to pad the corners of all the furniture. If she looks pale or says she doesn't feel well, check her temperature and pulse. Call me immediately if anything seems wrong. Of course. And don't let her overexert. No running, no jumping, nothing strenuous. Understood. Charles appeared. Same suit from the interview, now with a tie, briefcase. Morning, Natalie. Thanks for being here. We'll have our phones on. Call anytime. They left. The house went quiet. I walked upstairs, found Maeve's room. Inside, a twin bed, white furniture, shelves of books, a TV, a desk with schoolwork and monitors, a pulse oximeter on the nightstand, a thermometer, hand sanitizer, medications lined up like a pharmacy. In the bed, a small girl, pale, dark hair spread on the pillow, thin arms outside the blanket. She looked younger than 9, fragile, like she might break if you touched her wrong. I sat in the chair beside her bed, waited. At 7:30, her eyes opened. Dark eyes. Big. Sad. She saw me. Didn't react, like she was used to strangers in her room. Hi, Maeve. I'm Natalie. I'm going to be taking care of you. Where's my mom? She went to work. She'll be home tonight. Oh. Flat voice. No surprise. Like she expected this. How are you feeling? Tired? Okay. Do you want to rest more, or should we get breakfast? I guess breakfast. She sat up slowly. Winced. Like it hurt to move. I helped her out of bed. She was light. Too light for 9. Downstairs, I made oatmeal. Plain. Victoria's note said Maeve had a sensitive stomach. Maeve ate 3 bites. Pushed the bowl away. Not hungry? My stomach hurts. Okay, that's fine. At 8:30, I gave her the medications. 6 pills. Different colors. Different purposes. She took them without complaint. Practiced. Like she'd done this 1,000 times. Then she sat on the couch. Stared at the TV. I sat next to her. What do you want to watch? I don't care. What do you like? Nothing. 9 years old. And nothing made her happy. That's when I knew something was very wrong. But not what her parents thought. The first week, I followed the routine exactly. Medications, rest, tutor. Rest, medications, rest. Maeve was compliant, quiet, obedient. Also, lifeless. She didn't smile, didn't laugh, barely spoke unless I asked direct questions. She moved like an old woman, slow, careful, like her body might betray her any second. Victoria called twice a day. How is she? Any symptoms? Did she eat? Temperature normal? Charles called once. Everything okay? She's not getting worse? They were terrified, constantly. And Maeve absorbed that terror. I saw it in how she held herself, how she monitored her own body, how she'd stop mid-step and check, am I dizzy? Am I tired? Am I sick? She was always sick because she was always looking for sickness. By the end of the week, I'd reviewed all her medications. 6 prescriptions, low-dose immunosuppressant for suspected autoimmune, antihistamine for allergies, probiotic for gut health, multivitamin melatonin for sleep, anti-nausea medication as needed. I recognized all of them, knew their interactions, knew their side effects. The immunosuppressant was concerning. It would make her more susceptible to infections, which would make her seem sicker, which would confirm she needed the medication. A cycle. The antihistamine caused drowsiness. Combined with melatonin, she'd be exhausted. The anti-nausea medication could cause nausea, if overused. I wasn't a doctor. I couldn't prescribe or unprescribe, but I could observe. And I observed a child being treated for diseases she might not have, being medicated into the very symptoms they were trying to cure. Week 2, I made a decision. I started small. Maeve, do you want to go outside? She looked at me like I'd suggested skydiving. Outside? Yeah, the backyard. Fresh air. We could walk around. I don't think I'm supposed to. Why not? I might get tired. Then we'll sit down. Mom says I need to rest. You've been resting all morning. Let's try something different. She hesitated. Then, okay. We went to the backyard. Massive, pool, patio, grass. Maeve walked slowly. I matched her pace. After 5 minutes, she said, I'm tired. That's okay, let's sit. We sat on the grass. She looked uncomfortable, like she wasn't allowed to sit on grass. When was the last time you were outside? I asked. She thought. I don't remember. Do you miss it? Miss what? Being outside, playing, being a kid. She looked at me, really looked. For the first time, I saw something in her eyes. Not sadness, not apathy, longing. I used to play outside, before. Before you got sick? Yeah. What did you play? Tag. Jump rope. I liked climbing trees. That sounds fun. She didn't respond, just looked at the grass, but I saw her fingers, touching the blades, feeling texture, like she'd forgotten what grass felt like. That night, Victoria came home at 6:40, rushed, anxious. How was she? Any problems? She was fine. We went outside for a bit. Victoria's face went pale. Outside? Natalie, she's not supposed to... She's fine. We walked slowly, sat on the grass, fresh air, sunshine. It was good for her. But what if she got too tired? What if she fell? What if... She didn't. Victoria, she's okay. You don't understand. She's fragile. She can get a bacteria. We have to be careful. I do understand. I was a pediatric nurse. I've seen fragile. Maeve isn't fragile. She's conditioned. Conditioned? Victoria's voice went sharp, defensive. To believe she's sicker than she is, to focus on every symptom, to be afraid of her own body. That's not. We're just protecting her. Charles appeared, heard the last part. What's going on? Natalie took Maeve outside without asking. He looked at me, not angry, confused. Why? Because she's 9. She needs more than rest and medication. She needs to move, to play, to be a child. She's sick, Victoria insisted. What if she's not? I said quietly. Silence, then Victoria. Get out. Victoria, Charles started. Get out. You're fired. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have children. You don't understand. Get out of my house. I looked at Charles. He looked torn, uncertain. Then Maeve appeared at the top of the stairs. Small, pale, in her pajamas. I liked going outside, she said. Small voice. Everyone looked at her. I felt better. After. Can I go outside again tomorrow? Victoria's face crumpled. Baby, you need to rest. You're sick. But what if I'm not? The question hung in the air. Charles looked at me, at Victoria, at Maeve. Let's talk, he said. Everyone, sit down. We sat. Kitchen table. Victoria furious and scared. Charles cautious. Maeve confused. Me hopeful. Explain, Charles said to me. What do you mean, conditioned? I took a breath, chose words carefully. I've reviewed Maeve's medications, her symptoms, her routine, and I see a pattern. What pattern? Victoria demanded. Maeve presents with fatigue, nausea, weakness, frequent illness. All real symptoms. But some of her medications, they cause those exact symptoms. The immunosuppressant makes her more susceptible to infections. The antihistamine makes her drowsy. The anti-nausea medication can cause nausea if used too frequently. She's being treated for conditions that the treatment itself is perpetuating. That's not... The doctors aren't coordinating. She's seen dozens of specialists. Each one prescribes something, but no one's looking at the big picture, at how these medications interact, at whether she needs all of them. Charles leaned forward. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we try something different. Reduce medications gradually, under medical supervision. Increase activity. Let her move, play, be outside. Treat her like a child, not a patient. She'll get worse, Victoria whispered. What if she gets better? And if you're wrong? If she really is sick and we stop treating her? Then we'll see it, immediately, and we'll resume treatment. But Victoria, Charles, what if I'm right? What if your daughter has spent 2 years being treated for diseases she doesn't have? What if the cure isn't more medicine? What if it's less? Silence. Maeve spoke, quietly. I want to try. Victoria turned to her. Baby, you're too young to decide. I'm 9. I know how I feel. And I feel tired of being tired. Can we try? Please? Charles and Victoria looked at each other. A whole conversation in that look. Fear, hope, desperation, love. Finally, Charles said, 1 month. We try it for 1 month, but we coordinate with her Edward physician. We monitor everything, and at the first sign she's getting worse. We stop, I agreed. Completely. Resume the original plan. Victoria was crying. I can't lose her. You won't, I said. But you might be losing her to overprotection. Let her live, just for a month. See what happens. Dr. Edward Monroe was Maeve's primary physician. 50-something. Practical. No nonsense. I liked him immediately. Charles, Victoria, and I met with him the next morning. Maeve stayed home with a temporary sitter. I presented my observations. The medication interactions. The cycle of symptoms. The psychological component. Dr. Monroe listened. Reviewed Maeve's chart. All 18 pages of it. You may be right, he said finally. Victoria's head snapped up. What? She's been over-medicated. I've been saying this for 6 months, but you kept seeking additional opinions, additional specialists, each one adding something. And I admit, I should have pushed back harder, should have coordinated better. So she's not sick? Charles asked. I didn't say that. She has symptoms, real ones. But I think... Dr. Monroe paused, choosing words carefully. I think Maeve has been experiencing a cascade effect. Initial illness, probably a bad virus 2 years ago, led to fatigue. Fatigue led to anxiety. Anxiety led to more symptoms. Parents naturally worried, sought help. Medications were prescribed. Some helped. Some made things worse. More symptoms emerged. More medications prescribed. And here we are. What do we do? Victoria's voice was small, scared. We simplify. Reduce medications to essentials only. Increase physical activity gradually. Treat her like a healthy child and see if her body remembers how to be healthy. And if she gets worse, then we reassess. But Ms. Roberts is correct. This is worth trying. Victoria looked at me, not angry anymore, just terrified of hope. 1 month? She asked. 1 month, I confirmed. Dr. Monroe created a plan. Taper the immunosuppressant over 2 weeks. Discontinue the antihistamine immediately. Keep the probiotic and multivitamin. Use anti-nausea only as truly needed. And increase activity, progressively. Start with walks, Dr. Monroe said. Then light play. If she tolerates it well, consider organized activities. Swimming, dance, whatever she enjoys. She said she used to like sports, I said. Before. Then let's see if she still does. We started simple. Morning walks around the block, 10 minutes. Maeve was nervous. What if I get tired? Then we stop. What if I fall? Then I'll help you up. What if... Maeve, what if you're fine? She didn't have an answer for that. The first walk, she made it 5 minutes before saying she was tired. We sat on a neighbor's wall. Rested. How do you feel? I asked. Tired. But good tired? Good tired is real. It means your body worked. That's healthy. Mom says I shouldn't get tired. Your mom is scared. She loves you so much she's afraid of you suffering. But fear isn't always right. Are you scared? A little, but I'm more hopeful than scared. Why? Because I see a 9-year-old girl who's stronger than anyone's given her credit for. She smiled. First smile I'd seen. By the end of week 1, we were walking 15 minutes, twice a day. Maeve's color improved. Slight pink in her cheeks. She started asking questions. About the neighborhood. About other kids she saw playing. Do you think I could play with them? Maybe. Let's see how you feel first. Victoria monitored everything obsessively, texting me hourly. Temperature? Normal. Appetite? She ate a full breakfast. Energy level? Good. We walked 20 minutes today. That's too much. She asked to go farther. But what if... I stopped responding to the what-ifs. There were infinite what-ifs. Fear could invent scenarios forever. Charles was cautiously optimistic. She seems different, more alive. She is, I said. Victoria's terrified. I know. She thinks if she hopes too much, something bad will happen, like hoping jinxes it. That's magical thinking. He smiled sadly. When your child is sick, really sick, or you think they're really sick, you become superstitious. You hold your breath. You make bargains with the universe. You're afraid to hope because hope feels dangerous. Hope is the opposite of dangerous. Tell Victoria that. By week 2, Maeve had headaches for 2 days, withdrawal from the antihistamine. But they passed. Her energy increased noticeably. She started running. Not far. Not fast. But running. Down the driveway. Back. Laughing. I recorded it on my phone, sent it to Victoria. She called immediately. Is she okay? Should she be running? What if she falls? Victoria, watch the video again. Really watch. What do you see? Silence. Then, she's smiling. Yes. I haven't seen her smile like that in... I don't remember. Because she's being a kid, not a patient. I'm so scared, Natalie. I know. But she's not fragile. She's resilient. You just have to let her be. Midweek 2, Maeve asked a question that changed everything. Natalie, can I play a sport? What sport? I don't know. Something with other kids. What interests you? She thought. I used to watch volleyball on TV. It looked fun. Volleyball is great. Teamwork. Do you think I could do it? I think you could try. Would Mom let me? Let's ask. That evening when Victoria came home, Maeve asked her directly. Mom, can I try volleyball? Victoria froze. Volleyball? There's a recreational league. For kids my age. Natalie looked it up. Victoria looked at me. Betrayed. You're encouraging this? She asked. I researched. There's a beginner league, very low-key. Once a week, Saturdays. She can't. She's not strong enough. What if she gets hurt? Maeve's face fell, hope dying. Charles, who'd just walked in, caught the tail end. "What's this about volleyball?" "I want to play," Maeve said quietly. "But Mom says I can't." Charles looked at Victoria. At me. At Maeve. "Let her try," he said. "Charles. One practice. We'll go with her. Watch. If she struggles, she stops. But Victoria, look at her." We all looked at Maeve, standing there, 9 years old, hopeful, alive in a way she hadn't been in years. "Please, Mom?" Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "What if you get hurt? What if I don't?" Using my words, my logic. Victoria closed her eyes, took a shaky breath. "One practice, but I'm watching. And at the first sign of trouble..." "I stop," Maeve finished. "I promise." There were a dozen 9- and 10-year-olds at the community center gym. Coach was introducing the basics. Maeve was in athletic clothes Victoria had bought the night before, nervous, excited. Victoria, Charles, and I sat in the bleachers, Victoria gripping Charles's hand like a lifeline. The coach divided kids into groups, passing drills. Maeve was tentative at first, watching others, learning. Then she hit the ball. It went over the net. She gasped, smiled, hit it again. For the next hour, she played. Not perfectly, not expertly, but she played. She fell once, diving for a ball. Everyone gasped. Victoria stood up. I put a hand on her arm. "Wait." Maeve got up, laughing. "I'm okay." Kept playing. At the end of practice, she ran over to us, sweaty, flushed, breathing hard. "That was amazing. Can I come back next week?" Victoria was crying. Happy tears, overwhelmed tears, relief tears. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, you can come back." Maeve hugged her. "Thanks, Mom." In the car ride home, Maeve talked nonstop about the other kids, the drills, how her arms hurt but in a good way. Charles drove. Victoria held his hand, both of them processing. Their daughter, alive, happy, healthy. I sat in the back with Maeve, listening to her chatter. This was what being 9 should look like. Maeve attended volleyball every Saturday. During the week, she practiced at home, bumping a balloon in the air. Excited, focused. Her appetite increased. She ate full meals. Her sleep improved. No more melatonin needed. She was tired from activity, not medication. The mystery symptoms decreased. Headaches were rare. Stomach issues gone. No more random illnesses. Dr. Monroe did a checkup. Remarkable improvement. Vitals excellent. Energy excellent. She's thriving. "So she wasn't sick?" Victoria asked. She was sick, from being overtreated, overprotected. But the underlying cause wasn't medical. It was circumstantial. And now those circumstances have changed. Victoria nodded, processing, accepting. "I kept her sick," she said quietly. "No," Dr. Monroe said firmly. "You kept her safe, or thought you were. That's what parents do. You didn't know. Now you do. And you're making better choices. That's all anyone can ask." Maeve made a friend, Lily, from volleyball. They exchanged numbers, texted, made plans to practice together. First friend Maeve had in 2 years. Victoria watched them text and laughed. "I forgot what this looked like. Normal kid stuff." "It's good," I said. 6 months later. Maeve is in school now, full-time, doing well academically and socially. She does volleyball 3 days a week. She's strong, healthy, happy. Last month, she competed in her first tournament. Her team came in 3rd. She was thrilled. Victoria cried. Charles couldn't stop smiling. And me? I watched this child I'd met 6 months ago, pale, weak, lifeless, do some beautiful attacks. Victoria and I talked last week. Late night, Maeve asleep, Charles working late. We sat in the living room that used to feel sterile. Now it had Maeve's backpack, volleyball trophy, photos from the tournament. It felt like a home. "I was killing her," Victoria said quietly. "No, you were trying to save her. By wrapping her in bubble wrap, by treating her like glass." By projecting my fears onto her. You were scared. That's understandable. I read about it after. After you started changing things. Munchausen by proxy, where parents make kids sick for attention. That's not what this was. Isn't it? I kept her sick. Maybe not consciously, but I did. Victoria, you loved her so much you were terrified of losing her. That terror manifested as overprotection. But the moment you realized what was happening, you changed. That takes courage. Or I had no choice because you forced my hand. I gave you information. You made the choice. She smiled, sad but genuine. Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see. Thank you for trusting me. It saved my daughter. Your daughter saved herself. She was just waiting for permission. I still work with the Spencers. Probably will for a while. But I also consult now. Other families. Other children who are mysteriously sick. I help parents see what they can't see through their fear. I help kids remember they're allowed to be strong. And I think about my nursing career. The one I walked away from because it broke me. Maybe I didn't walk away. Maybe I just found a different way to heal. One child at a time. One family at a time. One breakthrough at a time. Maeve Spencer was always sick. Until she wasn't. And now she flies. Have you ever watched someone be overprotected to the point of harm? Which moment hit harder? When Natalie suggested Maeve wasn't as sick as everyone thought, or when Maeve played volleyball for the first time? Share your thoughts, your experiences with overprotective parenting or medical journeys that didn't make sense, in the comments below. If this story about seeing beyond symptoms, giving children permission to be strong, and finding healing in unexpected places moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about families, healing, and the courage to question what everyone else accepts. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Thanks for watching, and we see you in the next one.